All right, let's begin the unit review. This is actually Unit 6, not Unit 5. Okay, this is going to be Unit 6. All right, so what are the solutions to the system of equations? Well, this is a graph, and graphically we're concerned with the intersections. So where do these two problems intersect? Well, one of them, this first intersection, we can say that that's the first one, is at -3, -1. And this one right here looks to be at 0, 2. So that would be our solution. Looking at this, solve using any method. If it says that, you can use a matrix to do that as well. I'm not going to use a matrix though, because this is set up nice to use substitution. I can solve for x here. I get x equals -6. I'm going to go ahead and put that down here. And in this middle equation, I have an equation in terms of x and z. So I can take this and I can plug this value in to this middle equation and solve for z. That's 18 minus z equals 14. Subtract 18. We get -z equals -4. Divide by -1. And we get z equals 4. Lastly, our top equation is in terms of x, y, and z. So I'm going to replace this x with -6. And this z with is it -4 or +4? +4. Equals 8. So I end up getting -6 minus 6y plus 8 equals 8. These can add together to give me 2. Subtract 2. We get -6y equals 6. Divide by -6. And we get y equals -1. -1, sorry. That looks like a nasty negative. There we go. Okay. Let's look at a few more of these. Solve using a matrix. So first I want to write my matrix equation. Here's my body of variables going in this top row right here. 1, 2, and 3. The next row is 1, 3, and 2. Then 1, 4, and -1. And I'm going to take the inverse of that matrix. And then I'm going to do my totals right here. I get 9, 5, and -5. This is what we should be typing into our calculator. I'm going to do that real quick. When I hit enter, that gives me my solution. Remember, this first position correlates with this variable right here. And the next one is that and that. So those numbers that came out should be 2, -1, and 3. So that's telling me x is 2, that's -1, and that's 3. Name a point that would be a solution to the following system of inequalities. Anything in this double shaded area. Anything in here. So I'm just going to say 0, 0 works. That's right here. That's in the double shaded region. Anything on this line works. Not on this line though. And this line would work, or that point would work too. All right, solve using any method. I'm going to solve this using a matrix. That would be easiest. So I'm going to set this up like so. Using my coefficients only. My y's got to be 0 here. Take the inverse of that times my totals. -3, 6, and 2. When I hit enter on my calculator, I should get x equals -1, y equals 0.25, and z equals -0.5. Here, solving the system graphically, we're going to find the intersection. So you can go in your calculator and find some points and plot them, but you can also do this quickly by hand, and you're going to have to do this tomorrow on your test. So looking at this, I know that my y-intercept is at 5, so I'm going to go and put a 5 on the y-axis, and my slope is -2. So from that y-intercept, I'm going to go down 2 and over 1. I'm going to get this point right here. And then I have a line that looks like that. Now, this other equation is a quadratic with a vertex at 3, negative 1, our h and k. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that point real quick. Oops. This line that I did is not very good because I'm not going to be able to see that. See, that's where I intersect right there. So I need to be able to see that at least. Okay, so my vertex for my parabola is going to be right here. So that's going to be one of my solutions. It's lying on top of that line. So this would be at 3, negative 1. And then if I continue to graph this and I look at my calculator and I found some points, I can see that I have a point here, here, and I have one right here and right here, and I can connect this to get something like this. So your graph should look something like this, but what I'm concerned about is that point and that point because that's where they intersect. The other one is at 1, 3. Those would be our solutions. All right, solve using elimination. That means that I'll need to add my equation straight down in hopes that something eliminates. Well, if I did that right now, nothing would happen. So I'm going to multiply this equation by negative 2 to eliminate y. So when I do that, I get negative 6x plus 2y equals negative 8. And I'm going to bring this down underneath it and say that that's x minus 2y equals 3. Now I want to combine my like terms. This is going to give me negative 5x. That's going to eliminate, and this is going to give me negative 5. Divide by negative 5, and we get x equals 1. Solving for y now, I can, if I know what x is, I can just plug that in for one of the equations. So I'm going to choose that top equation, and I'm going to solve for y. And y equals negative 1. Solve using substitution. I'm not going to use substitution because this is set up perfectly for elimination because I don't have to multiply by anything. Those eliminate, and I'm going to get 6x equals 24. Divide by 6, divide by 6, x equals 4. So if x equals 4, I'm going to plug in 4 for one of those equations for x. I'll do that top equation, and I'll solve for x, or for y, sorry. Divide by 2, divide by 2, and we get y equals 3. All right, let's look at the other ones. Okay, so number 9, if you're watching this video, number 9 is not going to look like this in your test. So I'm not going to have you write the equation given the graph. We didn't do something like that in class. I would actually give you something like this. So this is what you do need to know how to do. This would be the system of inequalities that you were given. And from here, you would plug this into your calculator and select which graph represents that system of inequalities. Keep in mind, we have two different triangles. We have a triangle that's kind of up top, and we use that when y is less than, or sorry, when y is greater than or greater than or equal to. And we use this bottom triangle that looks like this when y is less than or y is less than or equal to. So when I plug these in, since y is less than, I'm going to use that bottom triangle like this on both of them and to get this. Also, don't forget about process of elimination on multiple choice, right? These are both solid lines. So if you have any, if you see this and you know that those are both solid lines and you see something with the dashed line, cross that out. Okay, solve using any method of your choice. When I say this, you can use a matrix, but I'm also going to not use a matrix here because I don't want to type it into my calculator. I can use substitute or elimination fairly easily and get x equals negative 3. And then I can plug that in for x and find y in one of the equations. I don't know what I was trying to write there, but either way, we get 4y equals negative 8 divided by 4 divided by 4, and we get y equals negative 2. All right, these next two, factoring, this is a shortcut because that a value is 1, so I'm going to go ahead and write my parentheses. this has to be an x, and this has to be an x, because x times x is x squared. Now I'm looking for what multiplies to that, but adds to 3. That would be 5 and 2, but that has to be positive, and that has to be negative. Because 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, and 5 minus 2 is positive 3. We can check this by multiplying it back out. That's x squared plus 5x minus 2x minus 10. These add to 3x, and we've done it correctly. Check. So our answer, once again, x minus 3 times x plus 5. Okay, this one you can factor using grouping, or you can factor using a difference of squares, which is what I'm going to use. So recall, difference of squares is a pattern. They have to have a minus sign, and both terms have to be a perfect square. And your factors are going to have alternating signs. So this is how the pattern works. The square root of this first term is your first term in each set of parentheses, and the square root of the second term is that. So this is how this factors. We can go and check this. That's 16x squared minus 20x plus 20x minus 25. These middle terms cancel, and we're left with 16x squared minus 25. Oh, that's not our answer. That's our check. So our answer, once again, is 4x plus 5 times 4x minus 5. And that is your review in 11.5 minutes. Good luck on your test tomorrow.